with all the hype around these GLP-1 medications, very few are talking about how is best to approach this, especially when the conversation comes around to fasting and hormone therapy. In this clip on one of my coaching calls, this was a very popular topic that I went through a couple times, and I wanted to share with you just a glimpse of what it's like to not only work with a coach and have some structure and guidance, but more importantly, you'll learn a thing or two about hormones and fasting and many other aspects to complement your GLP-1 journey. So Rosanna, I see that you're doing the hormone therapy with us too as well.
Yes.
Is that your first time doing hormones, or have you been doing hormones before?
I've had a few rounds with them.
Yeah, and getting your metabolic health in order really makes the hormones that much better. So I'm glad that we're getting everything together managed for you. Never been on GLP-1s, I see?
Once, yeah, ended in May of this year.
Okay. And then what happened since you've been off? Did you regain weight? What was different about being off of them?
Yeah, I ended the program in May. I had a total of about 20-ish pounds loss, but my calories were really low. And so when I came off of that, I knew I needed to increase the calories, but I had a really hard time doing that. And before I even increased the calories, I already saw the weight gain coming back. By August, half the weight that I had lost was already back. I never got out of, and I started tracking my calories. I use a chronometer app that I like to use, and my calories tend to stay within the 15 to 1700 range. I'm a short person, so I'm not super big, but even trying to keep it in that range, I still couldn't keep it down. And then July and August were super busy for work as well. And the workouts faded at that point also, which is probably part of the problem.
At least you're here. We caught it. Over the past 2 to 4 weeks, if you had to guess, how many calories do you think you average?
I'm averaging right now 16 to 19. I'm a little higher just because the way my schedule is, it's just been a little crazy. I have a normalized way of eating at night, particularly because that tends to be where we tend to go off. But when I'm busy with work, I either get nothing to eat, like today, unfortunately, was one of those days, or I end up snacking all day long. Neither one of those is the best case scenario.
But the good news is the only time I make you guys count calories is for a specific reason, a reset, or to develop that calorie counting consciousness. After that, estimating, having ideas, and listening to your body is where the direction we're headed. I think if you're averaging 16 to 19, you're fine. I think you're good to go to start the program. I would say closer to 19 is where you probably should be at. So for this first week, it might be a good idea to count your calories and just try to hit 1900 for a whole week. Ceci, I wouldn't say she's in a reset per se, but let's just see what happens if you eat 1800 a day or 1900 a day. And if your weight doesn't change, then I think you're solid. Then that gives you a good idea of what 1900 looks like for the rest of the program, because the rest of the program, we're not going to be decreasing our calories. And that's the one thing that makes us so different. We're not decreasing our daily calories. We're increasing our fasting window. Right. And that's what makes this so different. And that's the answer to all the questions of, isn't this the same thing as restricting calories? It is, but look, if you look at the way we partition the calories throughout the week, it's one long, massive deficit. And then the rest of the week, you want to eat really high. You want to eat at a full day's worth of food, a full day's worth of calories and protein and nutrient-dense food, so that we prevent our body from ever going back into starvation mode, which is what happened to you the first time.
Okay.
And when you're on GLP-1s, as it's really easy to start under eating because you're not hungry. So that's another reason why I advocate for lower doses. I want you guys to feel hunger. I never want you guys to lose the hunger in cues entirely, because that's also really weird. In the future, you're going to have to get comfortable getting back to feeling hungry again in the future. Although hunger is going to be much more improved because I'm going to help fix your guys' body. Even a healthy person still has to be able to mentally handle cravings. I'd love to eat Oreos every single day if I could, but I don't, right? Because I know how to exercise some control and my body's healthy, right? So that's where we're trying to get you guys to. One of my favorite things that I like saying more so recently is this game of lasting weight loss, this is mind plus body. Mind plus body equals results or lack thereof. So I'm working both angles for you guys. Fantastic. Thank you, Rosanna. Okay, so let's, Cam, how we doing? Where's she at?
Okay.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So never done GLP-1s.
I had weight loss surgery back 11 years ago.
Okay.
And I was a success story. I was 306 pounds and got down to 127 pounds. And recently, in the past 3 years, I went through a terrible divorce and got back into my bad eating habits. And I'm up to, I think 198 is what I logged today.
Okay. Okay. So still far from 300, but obviously you want to get this nipped in the butt right away.
Yeah, I want to get control. I think what turned me on was the whole fasting thing. And knowing that you don't want us on the medication forever. Because I almost signed up with somebody else that was a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of having a coach and talking to people and consulting, doing the blood work. So I'm very interested.
Super. Thank you for sharing that. And yes, like I was saying earlier, what we are doing is amazing. And my goal for you guys is either complete medication independence or maintenance on a microdose. That's very different. Microdosing intermittent use protocols. So me personally, I do a very small dose like every 3 or 4 weeks. And I've gone back and forth on it. It's been interesting. When this thing first came out, I was like, all right, fine, let's use the medication. But the more and more research that comes out, the more and more I get comfortable with if we're using a microdose or an intermittent use approach, combo of both, considering how many things in our life are not normal, like the massive amount of toxic crap that we're exposed to, it's almost a way to bridge the gap. It's a dynamic thing and it's moving, but that's my goal. You are right, is to get you as close to that independence as possible.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, good. So calories wise, last couple of weeks, what do you think you're averaging per day?
I have
Right,
even with the weight loss, when I had the weight loss surgery, I never really even counted calories. I knew my body. I just knew what not to eat and concentrated on protein and stuff. And now I have terrible eating habit. It's bad.
Very likely you're not going to need to do a reset. I don't think we need to. It sounds like you're eating a lot already. You're gaining weight. So you're probably not gonna, but I do sense the need of maybe counting calories for a couple of weeks just to recalibrate, because I would like to know if you've been eating 3,000, if you've been eating 2,000, like what have you been eating? And if you're not
probably like 4,000. It's bad.
Okay.
It's bad.
So let's count for a week or two, just so that you can text us back. What do you think you've been averaging? But other than that, you're ready to roll right into the program. And
like I'm ready to start as soon as I get that other medication. Like I'm ready to. I want to get on it and
absolutely
focus.
And you guys can start the protocol now, even if you don't have the medications. The most powerful thing to do is start increasing your fasting. Now, if we do decide yes to the reset, then no long fasting. That's why we're having this conversation. But Kim, you're good. And so you're good to go into the long fasting as quickly as you possibly can, right? That's obviously before the med, it's more challenging, but I still want you to start intermittent fasting. I still want you to start pushing the envelope as much as you can, okay?
So what's my window of fasting? Oh, you are? Okay. I don't know if the longest I've ever fasted is probably like 1 day.
No, and most people haven't done this. This is a very unique thing. So yeah, we'll get into how the whole thing looks for everybody. Okay. Nicole.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I don't see anything about having done, you tried Ozempic. When was that?
I have done tirzepatide and I did try Ozempic for 1 month and it made my stomach hurt. So I will not be going back to that. I did the lowest dose, 0.25 of tirzepatide from January till, was it May?
2.5 is the lowest dose. Do you mean 2.5?
Yeah, 0.25.
So 0.25 is the lowest dose for semaglutide and 2.5 is the lowest dose for tirzepatide. I just wanted to get it right.
Okay, I'm sorry. So whatever the lowest dose is what they had me on.
Okay, perfect. And what happened when you were on it?
So I lost the 10 pounds. So I was back down to, my body runs best at 120. I am like 15 years post-menopause. Maybe we can talk about that tomorrow at my blood work thing.
Yeah.
I tried to do testosterone and was on the estradiol progesterone pills. And They said that my hemoglobin doubled, and so I had to be bloodlet literally to bring it down because I was all chortly. I felt like I was choking. I was choking on my own blood. I had too much blood cells.
Yeah, if you're not, yeah, if you're inflamed or you're metabolically not healthy, that can happen more often than it normally would.
Okay, and yet I would like to try injections again, even with estrogen. I'm 52 and I literally feel like a 90-year-old lady. So I take calcium, I take bone builder because I realize it's not just calcium. You need minerals and silica and different things to build bone. My DEXA scans are I have osteopenia.
Okay.
I have osteopenia. Some places I am borderline osteoporosis.
Okay. Well,
so
thank you for sharing that. The most powerful thing you can do for bone health, ladies, is resistance training. Believe it or not, that is the #1 thing to strengthen your bones is weight training. And guess what? It's also the most important thing for lasting weight loss and muscle health. And so weight training, we're going to end today's call. Well, I'm going to stress that with you guys. But yeah, and then optimizing testosterone, Nicole, that's going to help your muscles get stronger faster, which is also going to help your bones as well. So definitely, I think testosterone is a good idea for you, given the fact that you already have a weakening of the bones here. Ceci, if you can send Nicole the BHRT video on the YouTube page, if you're not sure, I can show you after which one. But if you just go to our recent videos, it's a month and a half ago. It's the menopause BHRT women video. Actually, you can send her the link tree. Never mind, it's on the link tree. Send her the link tree for BHRT, and then get her set up for a call with whoever her advocate is to talk about hormone therapy.
Okay.
So Nicole, how many calories do you think you're averaging?
So I have watched it depends. I have watched your
basal metabolic rate?
Yes, just plummet. So back in 2018, I was at 1679, and was it 2 years later in 2020 my metabolic rate plummeted down again to, I think it was 13 or 1200.
Okay.
So I don't overeat. I'm allergic to everything. I'm gluten intolerant. I can't eat dairy, or I try not to. So I'm almond milk, non-GM, and all my tests though come back like my thyroid function says, oh, it's fine. I don't believe the tests anymore.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
there's something
there.
Yeah, there's something going on, because a person's metabolic rate does not just fall like that in that amount of time. So I'm not believing the test results at this point. I don't care if they say my...
Yeah, we do a more functional thyroid panel, so we'll double check that for you. In the meantime, how many calories do you think you average a day?
I starve myself, and I have a problem with sugars. Like, I drink tea and I put honey in it. I've gotten rid of the white sugar cane habit. But if I drink coffee, like to build bones, it's a Starbucks latte with oat milk. But
what do you think the guess is on the number of calories?
It varies. It really varies. So sometimes less than 1,000 a day. Sometimes it's 1,200.
Okay.
So
1,000 to 1,200 range. Okay. Yeah. You're definitely starving yourself, but that's why we do this. That's why we do this.
But I'm gaining weight again. Once I went off the tirzepatide, it just creeps back, and I'm tiny to begin with, you know what I'm saying? And just in the past couple years, everything just really seems to be going sideways.
It's okay.
So,
it's okay. So we're gonna get you back some control. So we're gonna do a reset. I want to start you off at 1,200 calories. So because of what you're saying, you need to do your best during this reset to try to hit exactly at 1,200. Don't stress if you don't hit it exactly. Just do your best. Make sure you go back after today's call, sometime after today, and rewatch that section on the reset. So you don't have to write everything down right now. There's specific instructions, but long story short, you're going to be working with Ceci week by week, texting her the update of what we need. And then our goal is going to be to slowly increase your caloric intake while preventing as much weight gain as possible. Usually we don't gain any weight during the reset.
Also, unfortunately, an over the road trucker. And so getting exercise is difficult for me.
My favorite gym for people that are on the go. Are you living in your truck? Like you have one of those semis?
I have, yep, I'm living in my truck. I have one of those adjustable weights that goes up to 40 pounds. Last night I was able to go for probably about a 5 mile skate, which isn't that far because I participated in the marathon back in 21.
We'll send you our favorite gym that you can put with you in the truck. It's called the X3. We'll send that over to you, and that'll be something that you can do on your own. So
Okay.
I think 1,200 starting point and lift weights as much as you possibly can is going to be absolutely crucial for you so that we're focusing on rebuilding some of that muscle mass that we lost. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
All right, Sarah. Hello.
Hi.
So you used Monjaro a little bit before in the past, lost some weight, gained it back. Man, sounds familiar, huh? It's like this is happening to everybody. So go figure that one. Okay. So same thing for you, Sarah. What do you think calorie wise? Like how many calories do you think you're averaging per day? The last couple of weeks?
I think I have some days where I'm like at under 1,000, and then other days when I'm over like probably up to 3,000 calories. If I don't eat the day before, I'm hungry the next day. It's my life right now is a little bit crazy. So it's day to day.
That's interesting. Okay, that's a pretty big fluctuation. How realistic it is if I said, hey, let's shoot for not forever, but for a week or two, I just want to calibrate and see what happens. If I gave you a calorie goal, do you think we could do pretty decent to get close to that?
Yeah, I think if I have a
target.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I now have somebody I have to report to, so it'll be easier to keep
perfect.
range.
Let's do 1,700. So I want to see what happens. Ceci, we'll see this. It's an unusual one. I don't think you've heard before where someone's, hey, it's all across the board calorie wise like that. So just picking a number near like a little bit lower than the middle. So 1,700, we'll see what happens. And if she doesn't gain weight, then we'll keep going up. Perfect. Thank you, Pam or Sarah. All right, Pam, looking to beat the insulin resistance. I want everybody to beat the insulin resistance. So don't worry, this program does that. You were using GLP-1s for 3 months, then tirzepatide, and you're currently still on it? Is that right?
I'm sorry, you cut out. I don't know if it's my connection.
Oh, okay. So I'm reading that you have experience with GLP-1 medications and you're currently still taking them.
Yes. So I started with Ozempic a year ago, and I did that for 3 months. I lost 8 pounds, maybe. I got discouraged and I didn't continue that. And then I started seeing a different practitioner, and I started the tirzepatide, and I started that in March. So from March through maybe June, I lost like a pound, 2 pounds. What was happening is my glucose was coming down. So it started out like 135 and it was down. It's probably down to 92 in the morning to a 96. And then most recently, I'm at the top tier of the tirzepatide. I lost 7 pounds last month, and I'm at about 5 pounds this month.
What dose you're saying you're at the top tier? That would be 15 milligrams of tirzepatide?
Yeah. And what's hard for me now is I exercise, but I don't have any energy. It's hard for me to eat. Never in my life have I not been able to eat all my calories.
Because you're on a maximum dose of a powerful thing. All right. How do you feel about the idea of taking a break from the GLP-1? Does that freak you out or no?
No, I don't want to gain weight. I have lost weight since I started, and this is about always where I get. I never go any lower than this.
You're in this situation where it's like, where do you go from here? You're on the maxed up dose.
Right.
And you're not losing, right? So we need to do a reset for sure.
Okay.
But how are we going to get you to do a reset if you can't even eat? So you might gain a little bit of weight during the reset, but if it were me, this would be a metabolic reset and a medication reset at the same time.
Okay.
And so here's how I would do it. And you don't want to cold turkey 15 milligrams. You want to work your way down. maybe 5 milligram increments is one way to go about it, your level of patience, but definitely working your way down and then doing the reset and working your calories up. Lift weights as much as you possibly can, because on the short term, you might be in a surplus during time to time. Because remember, guys, with the reset, we're trying to speed your metabolism up. So it's intake versus metabolism. And metabolism has this intrinsic value at rest. And what we're doing is we're trying to speed that number up. And that's why the increase is slow, right? It's usually 200 to 300 calories a week maximum that we would increase. How many calories do you think you're averaging?
If you're watching these clips from my coaching calls and wishing you can be part of the team, I'll put a link in the description, but we have thousands of individuals who are kicking ass using microdose intermittent use protocols and implementing sustainable lifestyle strategies, guys. Click that link, fill out your information. Now back to the show.
Been tracking them. I just started tracking them like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
It's been really bad. I probably 1,000 calories.
Ooh, okay. And so I think because you're going to be decreasing your dose, I don't want to make a big increase yet. So let's start at 1,100 for the first week, but that will be at a lower dose. For me, I would probably do a 5 milligram decrease. That's a reasonable decrease, not too much of a shock, but big enough, right?
Okay.
You want to move. And then keep us posted on how you feel during that for sure. But I don't think you're going to notice like a massive ravenous hunger, but you should notice a little bit more appetite, which should make it easier for you to hit your calorie goal. And are you doing weight training?
Yes, I do what I can. I am looking at getting a trainer, but I have like free weights at home. I have a few things. We have a few things at home. And I'm very familiar with weight training, but I probably need a trainer to get like more organized and.
Yeah. So I'll just go ahead and hit that bridge for everybody right now, because a few of you guys are in a reset. Some of you are not in a reset. You're good to go. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was 3 of us. Ceci's taking notes for me on all this. Weight training is going to be a valuable thing throughout this entire program. But when you're coming off of a situation like that, Pamela, I would rather if you gain weight, I would rather that be muscle. Okay, fantastic. So yeah, I think a trainer, if you know yourself and you know that's one way to get into the rhythm, I think that's awesome. Roseanne, what's your weight training look like?
Like I said, I've fallen off a little bit. My goal at the end of this is I want to put on a lot more muscle than I've put on in the past. I just feel like I feel better in that condition. And it's been 7 years since I've felt that way. I've got a full gym basically in my home. My thing is just getting the time to do it, which I'm fully aware, committing to this program, that I'm just going to have to probably get up at 6:30 or 7 in the morning to do that.
When people ask me what's the best time to lift weights and work out, I go, the time that you are least likely to blow it off.
Yes.
Is that an Olympic bar behind you?
That is a squat rack.
Squat rack. Nice.
Yep.
Nice. That's super cool. Okay, good. You know what you're doing. We just got to get back into the rhythm. So that's
Yes.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Sarah, what's your plan for the workouts? Are you doing any heavyweight training right now? We can come back to Sarah.
I am just lifting dumbbells and kettlebells right now.
Is that like a program that you're following, or have you ever heard of the term hypertrophy training? Do you have experience lifting like that?
I used to lift 10 years ago, like every day. So I'm just doing kind of that old plan that I used to do at the gym. I'm doing at home right now.
Okay. Yeah, the key there, but the key is that we're trying to stimulate muscles. We want to train like we're actually trying to grow, even though we are in a fat loss phase. If we train like we're trying to grow, it's called hypertrophy style. That's going to get us the best results long term. So
Okay.
once we can adhere to that, really trying to challenge ourselves, hitting to muscular failure, and doing bigger compound lifts. If you have access to all that with what you're doing at home, then good.
Okay.
Fantastic. Nicole, same question for you.
Yeah.
How's the weight?
Oh, at the moment, it's non-existent. So
Yeah.
I'm just
Totally.
being honest.
No, I appreciate that. So what's realistic for you? Like, do you feel like you know how to do it? It's just a matter of making the time, or you really don't know how to do it?
It's just about making the time. So my life has been pretty much upside down for a couple months. I made a move from Iowa to Colorado, and I had fallen off, and this summer I was supplementing my landscaping job for my
Yeah.
weightlifting time because it was physically demanding. But yeah, so it's just a matter of me. Things are calming back down now. I got a new
Good.
job going across the country. I've got my weights with me, making myself settle back down and settle into it. So it's discipline.
For sure. What is realistic for you for these next 2 weeks? So it's just because it sounds like you're still in that transition. 1 day a week, 2 days a week, like what's realistic for the next 2 weeks where it's a commitment that you feel good about?
I'm a cardio person, and I still have ADHD. So getting out and moving my body, it's just a must for me. Like last night, being able to get on my skates and go. So as long as I'm doing, and when I'm at deliveries and stuff like that, that's when I try to bring out my weights and do some reps. I'm not one to just sit in the driver's seat while that's going on because I get bored.
So yeah, check out that X3 bar that Ceci's gonna send you. And it's a couple $100. It's a really nice, portable, small thing. I actually recommend that for people that travel a lot and truckers because they can put it in their back and it's tiny, but you can do your entire body on it, which is
Okay,
so check that out.
I will. Thank you.
Fantastic. And Kim, last but certainly not least, how's our workouts going?
I am doing absolutely nothing and I haven't done anything for 2 years. Before the 2 years, I was obsessed with working out. I'd hit the gym every morning. I was on the elliptical at 4:15 in the morning and worked out, lifted weights, did supersets. I was very toned. And since my divorce,
Life just kicked you in the butt,
it
huh?
just really did. I've gotten very lazy, just bad habits. I
Totally.
used to love going to the gym. I've not been there for 2 years.
So it sounds like you know what to do. It's just a matter of getting back
I
to
know
it.
exactly what to do. Yeah, and I loved it. I got to get back in the habit of doing it again.
Priority, guys, weight training always priority over cardio. If you love cardio, fine. I'm not saying don't do it, but a lot of us are limited on time. We don't have unlimited time. And so because of that, I want you guys to really understand that prioritizing the weight training, the ideal scenario, 3 days a week, 45, 50 minutes, solid full body workouts in that hypertrophy style. That's the goal. Getting to that, if anything is better than nothing, that's why I'm saying, hey, if we only do 1 day a week for the next 2 weeks, I'll take it. But then realizing that, especially as we get deeper into this protocol and we get into the 48-hour fasting, we're going to talk about fasting here and then answer up any questions. The fasting is going to cause some massive fat loss. And so on the other days, it's really helpful to get that stimulus to your body with the adequate protein intake that you're lifting heavy, that you're lifting solids. Fantastic. So with the fasting, again, if you're in a reset, you can do intermittent fasting. That's okay. Because the goal of the reset is not to even stress about the intermittent fasting, which is eating less, but still eating every day. The goal of the reset is increasing your calories. Once you're through the reset, guys, or if you're not on the reset, you can start progressing to the other stages. Stage 2 is 24-hour. That's easy, but that's still not really the deep stuff yet because dinner to dinner, most people can get into that rhythm and it's not a huge jump. The big jump is when you go, okay, I'm going to bed. I haven't eaten since the night before, and now I'm going to not have dinner. So that's the big hump where you skip a full dinner and it feels really empty in here, but it feels really powerful in here. Trust me on that. Once you can get to that point where you can skip a full dinner and go to bed, you're in the flow stage. Do not do that twice a week because that's really deep. That's big. Your goal is at that point to get that to one full 48-hour fast. If it takes a couple of weeks, you guys are choosing the speed at which you progress yourself. Somebody mentioned having some low blood sugar, kind of hypoglycemia stuff, so pay attention to that. Believe it or not, fasting and GLP-1 medications generally do not create hypoglycemia. It's other medications that you're on that might do that, or it can, but it's rare. But since you already were aware of some prior issues, just pay attention to that. If it is happening, let us know so we can modify it for you. Other than that, any questions on the progression through the fasting?
Yeah, what am I doing? Because I'm not doing a reset. This is Kim.
So the entire program, guys, everything's open for you. What we have, if you're in a reset, the only thing you're modifying is you're focusing on the reset and you're not doing long fasting. So if you're not in a reset, then your goal is to get into the 48-hour fast as quickly as you possibly can. That's the
And
main objective here. Wow.
okay.
Wow.
And if you're in a reset, just eat the number of calories a day that you told me.
Yep. Yeah. That's your daily goal. And then you're texting the FLOA hotline, just like it says in the instructions. That's why I said, if you're in a reset, rewatch that section just so that you're super up to speed on that one. Because I know the welcome back, it was long. And so just in case you might have breezed through it, go check that out if you're in a reset. And you're going to be working with the FLOA hotline every single week at your weigh-in, texting us. If you're not in the reset, you don't have to text us every single week. You're implementing the protocol. And then we're here to support you throughout the entire journey. The main goal is getting yourself to that 48-hour weekly fast as quickly as you can. That's where the magic happens. That's where you're fixing insulin resistance. That's where you're reversing the damage that's been done to these receptors. And it's beating insulin resistance long term, which is the key to success. Now, when you're not fasting, you're eating. And as you read, the nutritional advice is not confusing. It's very simple. Just eat less processed foods. That's it. Eat less processed foods to the best of your ability. 90% clean, 10%. Give yourself some wiggle room, some junk food, whatever it is that is your guilty pleasure. And then the only modification to that is keto for the first couple months, because I really want to speed up the process of becoming insulin sensitive. And then protein intake, try to get at least 1 gram per pound of target body weight. Don't go less than that. Yes, Roseanne.
Since I'm not recommended for the reset, didn't know if I needed to implement any kind of intermittent fasting or keto or any type of along with that process.
The protocol is for everybody is this is the diet, right? It's anti-processed, low carb for the first couple months. And then on the fasting side, getting yourself into that rhythm of doing the long fast per week. Since there's no reset, you're able to jump in as quickly as you can. Some people, they got this mindset of, I'm just going to try a 36 or 48 right out the gate. Hey, you can do that. I'm okay with that. Just understand that's obviously probably not going to happen on your first time. But if you're okay with it and you want to try and challenge yourself, you're going to do really good if you challenge yourself. But if your personality is more slow and steady, then go slow and steady. You guys are driving the vehicle because you know yourself. I know 1 or 2 of you mentioned high levels of stress in your life right now. If you're super stressed out, I commend you for not waiting for your life to get better, because I always say life never presents the most perfect opportunistic scenario for anything. And so sometimes you got to grab it by the you know what and move. But if you are stressed, then go a little bit slower with your progression through fasting, because yes, as you progress through fasting, it is a challenge to your body. You are challenging your body. Stress is good, but there is a concept of stress threshold, meaning too much stress for your body at that time. And the last thing we're going to talk about is those supplements. There's some really good stress supplements that I do want some of you guys to get, because you said you're in a stressful time right now.
So the keto, I understand. I'm not doing the reset, so I'll be working towards that starting that long fasting. But in terms of, so I'm supposed to hit closer, you're wanting me to get closer to that 1900 calories. And that can be a stretch unless I put a lot of protein in my diet, is usually where I pad the higher calories. And I know keto is lower on protein and higher on fats. So
well, keto is not low protein. If I had to give it a name referring to the macronutrients, I would say the FLOA protocol embodies moderate high protein, low carb, and high fat. So the mistake that some people make is, oh, low carb, okay, low carb, high protein, and then they keep their fat low because they're like afraid to eat fat. And you're not, if you're doing low fat, low carb, I don't care how much protein you're intaking, you're not getting enough calories, right?
Yeah.
And that's called starvation mode. So it's weird concept, but you got to be eating fat, a lot of it, healthy fats. Nobody's having a struggle getting enough saturated fat, because that's saturated fat is all the yummy fat, right? That's your meat, that's your cheese, that's your dairy. The problem is, and it's not even a problem, but it does require some attention, is getting your unsaturated fat. So that's your olive oil, that's your olives, that's your avocado oil, that's your avocados, that's your nuts, that's your small fish. I'm a big fan of doing salads and just using a lot of dressing. Make your own dressing, do a ton of olive oil, because you can do a lot of that right now.
Okay.
And then you make your own dressing so it stays low sugar and it's good, clean ingredients.
Okay. Okay. Those are some good ideas. I was at a loss on how to up the good fats.
Avocados too, keep those around your house. I'm telling you, could just grab a
Always.
fresh avocado, throw some salt on it. On
Okay.
its own, it's delicious. Yeah, so avocados are great too as well. Ton of fiber,
Okay.
nutrition.
I think that helps. I wasn't quite sure, but
Yeah,
that
no,
makes sense.
fantastic.
I have
Thank
a question. I have a
Yeah.
question. So I'm not doing a restart. I'm doing the 48-hour fasting, correct?
Ceci, did we establish for Kim?
We're gonna check to see where her calories were, but not like a full reset, just because we wanted to see. Just because
She had the spectrum, right, between 1,000, 3,000. Okay, perfect. Likely no, but because your intake is a unique situation where you're like,
I was just guessing, maybe being dramatic. Because I did have the weight loss surgery and I am restricted. I'm probably at 2,000.
okay, good. So then that still means probably not a reset. So you're good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But so how often am I fasting, like 48 hours every week?
Yep. That's the goal, is to get you to that.
Okay.
This is
Because
the
48 hours. Oh, that's 2 days.
Ceci, send her the fasting video so that it's that 18-minute video so that she really watches that one and really gets it.
Could I get that one as well? Because I'm feeling really lost on the fasting. I bought the Dr. Bird's electrolyte stuff, but yeah,
2 days doesn't sound bad.
No, 3 days is a lot. Yeah, not on a weekly basis.
No,
No.
I'm pretty sure I can handle 2 days. Yeah, I can handle 2 days.
If you think of it like this, you're going to be skipping one dinner. That's it. You're going to be going from Tuesday night to Thursday night, for example. When you think of it like that, it doesn't feel like 2 full dinners.
Yeah.
If you're skipping 2 full dinners, now you're doing 2.5, almost 3 days. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take you time to get that long. But that process, whether it's 2 weeks, 4 weeks, or 6 weeks, once you're there, the fat is flying off your body. Your health is improving dramatically. This is flow protocol. No one else is doing this. There is no one else that's fasting this aggressively, ladies. But trust me when I say this is how you fix your body. It's a bumpy road. It's a process. And that's why we're here. We're here to guide you throughout the entire time. So I want you timing your weigh-ins right at the beginning of the fast. So if you're doing a Tuesday night to a Thursday night, a Wednesday morning every week would just be the perfect scenario for you to weigh yourself. Keep the questions coming, ladies. I don't care if we go over, because it's important to me that you guys, you're not going to know everything, but at least you don't leave this call being like, what's next? We got to eliminate that. So let me know if there's any more.
Do you suggest?
Oh, we'll start with Kim and then we'll go on.
So fasting, do you suggest we do it on the same day every week, or it doesn't really matter?
Great question. I only say that because 2 days out of 7 is a big chunk of the week. And so most people tend to just plan it, especially if you think about family time, dinner time. One evening, you're going to not be eating with your family, which, by the way, some people embrace it and still hang out with their family and have tea or whatever. And other people are like, no, I'm going to go work on a project. That's your decision. Totally up to you. But yeah, it's just something that you plug in. Consistency, if that might help you be less likely to shrug it off and miss it. Although if your schedule's crazy though, and you need to mix it around, totally fine. If your life ebbs and flows and you want to shift your fasting from week to week, that might throw your weigh-ins off a little bit, but that's just the nature of it. Let us know and we'll be aware that your fasting window is shifting. That's okay. Perfect.
I got all the recommended supplements that you suggested. So my question is, for someone like me, the product, because I have any more
Did I
product from Ortho Molecular?
Okay.
Hello?
You cut off a little bit. You were talking about DIM from Ortho Molecular. Are you asking if you can use the DIM from Ortho Molecular?
Yes, I'm using it right now, but I did order your suggestion. So I ordered all of it.
Good. Yeah. Ortho's a good company too. I like them.
Yes, I do as well. My question is, because my body, I have no ovaries and I'm not producing any hormones, does the DIM even do anything beneficial for a body like mine?
DIM is amazing because you're still producing, even though you don't. So even though you don't have ovaries, you still have adrenals, you're still producing hormones, but DIM is not one of my required supplements, just the core four and the electrolytes. Now, there's a lot of situational supplements. And the reason why I word it that way is because I used to say it was all, and then I would create a lot of stress for people because they're like, oh my God, I got to buy all these supplements. No, you don't have to. I get it. Finances are a thing, and I want to respect that. So the rest of the stuff is situational. Electrolytes are part of the requirement because you're doing the long fasting. Now, inflammation, if you have any sort of awareness that you have extra inflammation, I know a few of you were talking about reacting to food, celiac, gluten sensitivities, then you definitely have inflammation. So if it's just a gluten sensitivity, then I wouldn't worry about LDN. But I would get on the curcumin and resveratrol for inflammation. And then the rest of these are situational. So thyroid CNV, for anybody that's doing a reset, I do want you to get 1 bottle of the thyroid CNV. That's going to help your metabolism speed up faster, which is what we definitely want. So just 1 bottle is all you need. Fiber, if you're not getting enough different fruits and vegetables per week, this is my favorite fiber product. If you're having issues with sugar cravings, if you're aware of any gut issues, you see how we're getting into situational categories. So a lot of these are totally not required every single day.
All right. Thank you for your help.
Yeah, you're welcome.
If you guys enjoyed watching this video, then you guys are going to want to check this one out. I take a deep dive into fasting and overall lasting weight loss strategies utilizing these GLP-1 medications in the best format, microdosing, intermittent usage. Check that out, guys. We'll see you later.